some of you guys may know that I have a strong passion and love for the younger generation. That's young adults and children that live with sickle cell. And today I'm going to be speaking to my youngest guest so far. And we're going to just kind of dive into her life, what it's been like, and her hopes for the future. Kymica, thank you so much for sitting down and having a conversation with me. Introduce yourself to the people there and tell them who you are and everything.
So my name's Kymica, I'm 22 and I have sickle cell SS.
Thank you. So, it's been a long time.
It has, yeah.
I know. I don't even feel like I remember the last, I feel like the last time I seen you, we were both in hospital.
Maybe 2018, maybe.
We were literally like neighbours, next door to each other. How old were you then?
18.
You was 18?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Was that your 18? What year did you transition? I'm skipping so much. But was that one of your first hospital visits kind of at an adult hospital?
No.
No.
My first was ever 15 and then I transitioned when I was 16.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's rewind because I don't want us to kind of get ahead of ourselves and everything. Also, your voice is so nice and gentle and I'm so like her. So I'm gonna let me be nice and calm with you today. So tell me about your kind of childhood. What was it like growing up with sickle cell? Did your parents know that you would have sickle cell? Do you have siblings with sickle cell? All that kind of stuff.
My parents didn't know I had sickle cell until I got the heel prick test at the hospital, and that's when it was discovered. But I have no siblings, it's just me.
Me, myself and I.
Basically, growing up, it wasn't as bad, it was different. Obviously, you've got your little coat, scarf, hat, gloves, looking like a snowman in the winter. But it was just being in and out of hospital, that's all. Doing the school in hospital and stuff like that, because I was always in there.
Do you remember the earliest crisis that you had? Do you remember a lot of what it was like being in pain as a child?
Yeah, I can remember a few occasions.
What was your most, I wouldn't say most memorable, what was either the one that you remember the most?
I think it was when I had pneumonia and had a chest crisis.
At what age? How old were you?
I think I was 14, maybe, yeah.
Oh my gosh, so most of school you were
in and out of hospital.
In and out of hospital.
Even high school and college. I think it's generally the stress of work as well. Just
okay. So do you think that when you got to, I'm trying to think of school now, primary school, you don't really have much stress in life?
It wasn't mainly primary school. Primary school was just bodily changes growing up, the achy joints, and that's when the bones start doing what they do. So that
was when you kind of started
it started to get worse.
Did you ever feel excluded from anything, when you were in particularly primary school?
Yeah, the winter time, or especially if I was in my wheelchair.
You was in a wheelchair as a child?
Yeah, I've had a wheelchair probably since I was 4 or 5.
Oh my goodness.
Pink with big smiley faces on the wheels.
That's cute though.
Yeah.
So that was because of, I guess, how severe your crisis was?
My sickle cell and then hip, knee and spine deterioration.
From that young age?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I've still even got a wheelchair now that I use occasionally.
If you need to.
Yeah.
So the stresses of life that kind of was your triggers, I'm thinking secondary school, so when you get to kind of exam stages and that kind of
That was the worst, yeah. That was the worst. I did maybe 2 or 3 exams. The rest of them I didn't do.
Maybe. He was in hospital. So how did that impact your, I guess, your career choice, your aspirations, going to college?
College was a hard one, so I started off with childcare, thinking, that would be all right, but then it got to paperwork stages, exams, weather changes, bodily changes, and then, I just didn't finish. And then it got like, I think 2018 was a good year. I passed hairdressing, so that was good. And then I did my level 2, but then I had a stroke, so that ended.
How old were you when you had a stroke?
19, when I had my second one. That's my second one.
What was that like? Do you remember it?
Yeah, I was literally braiding my hair because I was in hospital after a crisis, about to go home the next day, so I was braiding my hair, watching a movie, as you do. And then I just had like a sharp shooting pain, as if it was like pins and needles. And then yeah, everyone just started running in after that.
Did you know what was happening?
Kind of, because I could feel like my face going heavy. And I kind of just fell to the one side and was stuck on that side, so I kind of knew, because it was similar to when I was 16.
So you had one when you were 16 as well?
Yeah, I was in the children's hospital when that happened.
So your first stroke was when you were 16? And then you've had another one. So after having the first one, were you left with any lasting effects, or did you regain like all of your abilities?
The only lasting effect I ever had was just struggling in memory loss, really.
Okay.
So I can forget things here and there. That was about it.
And after you had the first one, what did they say? Like, were you put on any treatments or
Just blood thinners.
Blood thinners. Do you take any treatments for your sickle cell at the moment? Are you on like transfusions?
I'm on exchange transfusions 6 weekly.
Every 6 weeks? When did that start?
That started at the end of last year.
Okay, so it's quite recent.
Yeah.
So after you have your stroke, they didn't put you on any transfusions or treatment or anything like that?
I had one emergency one there and then. They kind of done a couple of tests, waited out and see, and then I got put in on January last year.
Okay. So we've touched on a few already, but I want to kind of just dive more deeper into like the complications that are associated with sickle cell that you've experienced. So we've mentioned strokes, which you said you've had 2. Any other complications that you have been diagnosed with or that you've had other than kind of like the crisis and things like that?
I've got diagnosed with functional neurological disorder. Okay. That's a brain disorder. The left side of your brain doesn't send the signals properly, so it can cause seizures and left-sided weakness and stuff like that. Is that kind of because of the sickle cell, they're saying, or is that a separate kind of? I don't know if it's because of a mix of the sickle cell and the last stroke or what, but they don't know.
Was that a recent diagnosis? Because I feel like I remember.
Last year, February.
Have they been looking into that for a while? Because I'm sure I remember when I first kind of like met you when we was in hospital, was when you was telling me that you feel like I had
a
like
seizure because when the first time I met you was when I was 16, and I had the seizure because they gave me the wrong medication. That was why I had the seizure that time.
How did they tell you that? Like as in
when you researched up the name of the tablet and it tells you you're not meant to have it under the age of 18. You're not meant to have it if you have a blood disorder. Well, I was both of them things. Yeah, so that was that. Yeah.
We'll come back to that. Stick a pin, as they say in Jamaica. We'll soon reach back there. So you've got a neurological disorder. What else?
Just sickle cell.
And then sickle cell, bones.
Deterioration, yeah.
So have you been diagnosed? So you've been diagnosed with AVN?
At the moment, I'm still waiting for the appointment, but they said they can see the deterioration on the MRI and CT scan. That's
in your hips?
Yeah.
And you have pain anyway?
Yeah.
How does all of this make you feel? Like,
it's annoying, it's frustrating, because there's a lot of things you want to do, a lot of places you want to be, and then it's the days that you get prepared for it. Oh, I'm in pain, or I'm too tired. Or there's always something, but it's not that bad. It has impacted work a little bit, but maybe a little switch of a job career might help. So,
What do you do now?
Waitressing.
And how does having sickle cell kind of impact you going to work? Or?
Well, it's a 1.5 hour travel, which is 2 buses for one. For two, it's being on my feet anywhere from 4 to 8 hours a day.
Wow.
Fast pace, making sure people get their food, drinks.
How do you manage?
At first it was kind of going great because the transfusions were helping, but as the weather doesn't want to make up its mind, and then hip deterioration, it's all up and down. So I've been in and out of hospital at the moment. I haven't been back to work yet, which is why I've been thinking about the career change.
Okay.
Because it is too much.
So the career change is going to be purely because your sickle cell is kind of starting to impact on that decision. What are you thinking to go into next?
Hopefully maybe care assistant.
Okay. Is that still on your feet? Well, it's probably less
It's less on my feet because it would be sorting out the service users, just literally making them food, giving them medicine, helping them get into bed. And then once they're in bed, I'm sitting
you
down
can just sit
until I
down
go
and
home.
relax as well. That's true. That's true. Do you think that a lot of other young people, like your age groups, your friends and stuff, have to think about the same things that you do?
No, definitely not.
And what are they like? Like, what's your kind of your support system, your immediate circle, your friends? How have they? Do they know about your sickle cell? Do you kind of let them into what the real what it's like?
Once I've sussed a person out and I feel like I can trust them, then I'll go into detail. If not, they don't know. But if you are in my immediate circle, then you already know, because I am quite open. It's nothing to be ashamed of, it's nothing to hide, because at the end of the day it's a part of you, so you've got to roll with it, rock with it in a way.
I like that. Yeah. That's nice. So I want to go back to the pin that we stuck earlier. With obviously you had a seizure because of medication, being given the wrong medication. Can you kind of break down for me your experience with the healthcare? So in terms of what was it like, first of all, what was it like from going from the children's hospital to an adult hospital?
Yeah, I had the worst transition. I didn't like the adult hospital at all. I had a rough experience of it in a different hospital before, so I kind of knew what it was like. It was different. You get put on the wards with people with dementia, so you can sometimes they'll be shouting or 24/7, you never know, they can try and get out of bed. There's just a lot of distractions, so it's like, how am I meant to get better if I can't get sleep or if I can't do anything?
Were you given any warning, like, so in your transition phase of like, okay, you're coming of age, you're going to be moving to the adult hospital, what happened? Did they tell you what it was going to be like? Did you get to visit the other hospital? Did you know like where A&E was, what the ward was like? Did you know anything like?
I didn't know what the wards were like. I got to visit the new hospital, their staff,
but that was it.
But that was literally about it.
So you had no kind of pre-warning to?
No, I got told you're gonna have your spleen out, and after you've had your spleen out and recovered from that, straight to adult hospital if you need anything. And that was it.
How did you feel at the time? Like,
scared, because I knew, one, I couldn't have my mum there.
Yes, that was a major thing.
And that was like the red flag there, like, you're gonna put me in an adult hospital at the age of 16 by myself.
Did you know about the painkillers? So from what I can remember, when you're in the children's hospital, you don't have to ask for anything. Like
they just give it to you straight away when it's due.
They like run like clockwork, innit? Straight
away, which is what I loved, and that's the routine you get used to. I didn't like going there and you'll be buzzing and the buzz is coming 20 minutes, half an hour, 40 minutes, you're still waiting. And then they have an attitude when you're telling them you need your medication. It's different, but I don't know. We need a ward for ourselves with trained, well-trained staff that have that know about sickle cell, should I say, so that they can, because it does help when you have good care, good treatment. When you don't, it does impact everything else. So I don't know, but we'll see.
Hopes for the future. Have you had any kind of experiences of any that you can like specifically remember of being like mistreated, perhaps being discriminated against, or being labelled as like, you know, being aggressive, or being like anything of the sort?
I've had a few. There was one incident, I can't fully remember it, but I remember my mum was on the phone and the nurse was speaking to me in such a way that was rude. My mum heard it and straight away she flew down to the hospital. I got told to stop being a baby, stop crying, stop being a baby, stop making that noise, it's annoying. But they don't understand that when you're in pain, it's automatic. It's not like you're actually doing it on purpose. So yeah.
In those like situations, do you feel almost like helpless, or have you had to kind of, where are you actually treated? Are you at
City?
Okay, and is that where you go for like everything?
Transfusions and everything, yeah.
Any kind of urgent medical care or whatever?
Wherever I live, I can get a choice of Russell's Hall or Sandwell.
Do you feel like all of the different hospitals, so you've got access to kind of like, say, three?
Yeah.
How do they differ?
It's different care everywhere.
It's different? In what way?
Okay, for example, in Russell's Hall, they're quite used to me because I used to go there from I was younger anyway. So as soon as they see my name, they know oxygen, gas and air. Until we can get a cannula in, they know that process. Sandwell, they'll ask me, but they take their time. And City, they just have their rules and regulations that they love to stick by and won't hear anything else. So, yeah.
We won't go too much.
We won't go into that now.
I feel like one day, I think that what we always do is, with everyone that I spoke to that's treated at that specific hospital, we always say, we won't go into that, we won't go into that. One day we're going to have a whole panel.
We're going to have to
and we're going to go into it.
Yeah.
We really are going to have to go into it.
I've even said to my mum, I want to speak to the people that get the rules and where they get their rules and regulations from. What is the point of having a care plan if you're not going to follow the care plan because of your rules and regulations?
Wow. And that is for all the that is for all the people as well, that I feel like, obviously I have conversations with different people, or you get people that try and give you advice when you've had a bad experience, and it's like, you know, make sure you bring your care plan with you.
There's
Once
no
you
point.
have a care plan.
There's no point. Half the time you get asked to bring a card. I don't have a card. What's his card? I've never seen it. Bring your care plan. There's no point, because you're going to say, oh, well, I used to be trained at City Hospital and their rules and regulations are this. Well, that's not on my care plan, so you're either going to follow my care plan or just not treat me.
Or just not. So, care plans, they just don't listen.
They might as well not exist in this point, because they don't even follow them.
I'm with you there. I just think it's...
They're high horses, their rules and regulations that don't make sense, but yeah.
Everything they say goes and everything we say is irrelevant.
Yeah.
So, do you know what? I'm so glad that we got there, because I feel like obviously I'm very loud and very outspoken, and I like to always share all the things that I've kind of been through and experienced, but it's interesting that I'm, 10 years, then some, like older than you.
Yeah.
Being through that experience, and here you are, 10 years younger, still explaining to me the same experience. So it almost makes me feel like, sometimes I feel like, what is the point? What am I doing? Nothing's changing. And I think that's the same. I had a older, more mature lady on here, Yemi, and she was saying the same things that I've been saying, that you've been saying. So it's like...
It's the same problem, and it continues to go in a cycle. And we're not going to get out of that cycle until something's been said, but we're not being heard, so how do we do that?
We can hope and pray. We can. Talk to me about, I don't know, life, fun, friends, relationships? You have a partner?
Yeah.
Okay, that's lovely. That's so good to hear that. Are they great?
Great, yeah.
They understand your sickle cell?
Very. I mean, there's a lot that has actually shown me that there's people out there who don't have sickle cell that can be very caring and understanding about it. So it's a good thing. Support, that's what you mainly need, the support, because it is a hard, tiring illness.
That is true. How did you let them know that you had sickle cell?
Funny story.
Oh, get into it.
I was already in hospital.
Oh, okay.
So there was no way of hiding it.
They was in hospital when
I was in hospital.
So hold on.
It was a Snapchat thing. So I was actually an inpatient in hospital, and I never, like I said, I'm quite open about having sickle cell, so I'm always posting that I'm in hospital or whatever, so they see. And
so was he a friend already?
Yeah, we was already friends at the time, but I just never spoke in that type of way. And then he had to come and see me, and I was saying no.
Oh God! Actually, like, as soon as you said that, I got I got sick, because that used to just like give me anxiety.
I'm like, no, I'm in my pajamas, I've got my bonnet on, like, no. And 2 days later he showed up, and then from that day he was there for the whole month of my admission. Yeah, since then. So
we love you, boyfriend. We appreciate you.
It's been really good, yeah.
That's so beautiful. Has that been your kind of best experience of having a partner with sickle cell? Have you had any bad ones, or have you had anyone kind of not want to like pursue anything with you because of your sickle cell?
Yeah, when I was, I'd say 18, 19, you know, when you're around that age, get the silly little questions of, can you get it, can you catch it, like them little ones. From there it's just like, yeah, forget it.
They weren't for you anyway.
It's just like, forget it, I'm not even gonna go there.
But this is nice. Yeah. I love that. That's such a beautiful story.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm happy. Okay, that's good. Friends, are they all understanding? Have you had to kind of tell any people about themselves, deal with any people?
Yeah, I've lost a lot of friends because of sickle cell, but it's not because of sickle cell, it's because of them not wanting to understand when you think of it. Right.
So lost them as in, for what reasons? Do they feel that you are kind of
you know, when you don't plan to have a crisis, and that's what people need to understand. It's not planned. If you do want to go out, you will go out. If you don't want to go out, you'll say you don't want to go out. But if I'm willing to go out, I can't help that if on that day or the night before something's happened, and that's where the understanding never
So they would just feel like
I'm always bailing out, yeah.
Right. Yeah, we leave them. We don't leave
So
them.
that's why do you know what I mean? So the few little friends that I do have, they're quite good. Same scenario, they'll come up to the hospital and see me. You know, get the goodies. The drinks, all that stuff.
The snacks.
The food, the actual food.
The real food, because that hospital food is
not it. It's not it. Unflavoured seasoned food.
Oh gosh. Don't even get me started. Okay, so you've kind of had to navigate through friendships, relationships, and all that kind of stuff. Do you feel like now you're in a good place, like with your sickle cell? Do you feel like there's more that you want to know, or like how do you just feel like your sickle cell is at the moment? Because I feel like we go through highs and lows.
At the moment I'm going through that little rocky stage, which is frustrating, but it will be figured out in time. But I've got a transfusion next week, so that's always a plus. Get my energy boost back a bit.
Talk to me about that. So you're on blood transfusion
exchange.
You're on blood exchanges.
Yeah.
What is a blood exchange?
So a blood exchange is where they basically take out your red cells and they give us normal red blood cells. So it kind of cleans it and puts the plasma from our blood back into it, so there's no kind of change. But we're just getting a top up of regular cells.
And how does it make you feel after you've had a blood exchange?
You're tired because you're there for about 4 or 5 hours, depends. So you are tired for the next couple of days, but after that you then do feel like a little boost, like you've just been recharged.
Do you think that definitely, how often do you have it? Every 6 weeks?
Every 6 weeks I have it, yeah.
Does that keep you going?
No. With me, my transfusions roughly last a month if I'm lucky.
Okay.
But then again, it also depends on how I've actually been feeling, because they say you're not supposed to have a sickle when you've had a transfusion because your blood blah 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 blah. But we all know that you can still sickle, so I do still have my little sickles here and there. But mine roughly about 4 weeks. I used to get 6 weeks out of it, but now I can just about get 4.
It's reducing over time. When you started them, did it make a difference to?
Yeah, it did. I went a whole year without being an inpatient.
Wow, that's really good. That is really good. And then that's how many bags of blood do you have, like, typically for an exchange?
6.
6 bags of blood.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you think about, because obviously I always I'm doing quite a lot around blood donation and trying to encourage people to donate blood. Do you kind of speak about it, or what do you think about people who don't? Do you hear any rubbish about people don't want to donate or anything like that?
I haven't really heard much about blood donation, but I have done a video myself when I've actually had a transfusion. So the whole needling process, the whole getting the blood and the medication beforehand. So I've done a video on that, but I do need to look into more about blood donation and advertise that, because I do know we need more blood for sure. So yeah, that's something I'd be interested in.
Okay. So I feel like I've almost I've tried to pick to pieces your life experience and everything that you have kind of gone through. What would you kind of want to see change for the future? I mean, at this point, I'm feeling
better healthcare system. Literally, better healthcare system.
I mean, yeah, generally.
That is my biggest pinpoint.
It's just, what do you have to say to them? And if anything. Anything nice? Nothing nice to say? Don't say nothing at all. As we've been brought up. Do you know what? It's been so nice kind of just catching up, speaking, and just kind of finding out how you've been since, I haven't seen you and haven't been about much. Do you have any questions for me?
On ways of getting sickle cell out there, I know you went the book route, but I'm not a book route type of girl, if that makes sense. So I'm at the moment trying to use my YouTube and obviously Instagram and social media.
This is big time YouTube around here, big and bad. Actually, tell everyone about your YouTube channel. And
yeah, so on my YouTube channel I do film about sickle cell, more of awareness type, but not so it's boring like, oh, another sickle cell video, here we go. It's more of, I'm showing you what we have to go through on a day-to-day basis, how much tablets we have to take, whether in pain or not. But then again, I switch it up and do other fun vlogs, house videos, lifestyle videos, so that's what I mainly do.
Tidy up with me.
Yeah.
That was really funny. I actually just find them, I love them, I actually do love them. But no, at the end of the day, I feel like everyone's different. So like you said, you're not really the book route kind of person, and that's not for everyone. Find what you enjoy.
Yeah.
And then just use that to amplify your experience living with sickle cell. So I always enjoyed writing, and then that's why I thought, okay, do you know what? I want to write a book, and I want there to be something for children and stuff. You're kind of that. Are you like Gen Z? I feel like that's what they call you guys.
I like to broaden my audience to my age group and younger, because obviously they're obviously building their way up. I don't want them to have the experience we had going into adult hospital, because if I could have had that changed, I would.
What would you have changed about that experience? Like, what do you think would have made it better? I know that no matter what, it's not nice, but what is there any one thing you think could have made it better?
My consultants.
At the children's?
And
at the adults?
Yeah.
As in?
They could have made it, yeah.
How they communicated with you?
It was kind of like they were just pushing me out the door. You're at 16 now, bye, you're an adult. It's like, no, not really, because if I was an adult, I could buy alcohol or, you know what I mean? Just, you know, when you just smart mouth at that young age, you think, no, because I could buy alcohol if I was an adult.
Like, I'm not actually an adult.
I could have a house, but I don't. If you truly want to know about something, you'll put the effort into it. Half of these people, they don't want to learn about it, so they don't care for it, if that makes sense.
Complete sense.
I don't want to go too deep into it because, you know, but there is a few things that I would throw out there that would be debatable.
You want to just leave some breadcrumbs before we go?
The main one is cancer patients. How come they get treated different to us when it's the blood disorder? It's, you know what I mean, we're at the same level. That's my breadcrumb.
Okay, we're going to leave it there because that will be a whole nother episode. I don't want to get me started either. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.